Hey everybody, welcome back to another Bellows Blades knife review. I apologize that I have not posted anything here recently on the channel. Life's gotten a little hectic and I just haven't had the chance to, but I wanted to take a moment to go ahead and post this video because I just today got in a knife that I'm pretty excited about and I wanted to do an initial unboxing and initial impressions review. So as you can see, it clearly is a Spyderco. Now, this is an exclusive that was only offered through KnifeJoy, and I believe it sold out within the first day, sometime within the first day of going on sale. Basically what this is a smaller version of this knife, which I've done a review on the channel. This knife here is the Manix 2 XL, and you can check out my review on that. I do really like the knife, but there are some cons to it that have kind of kept it out of my pocket. Haven't spent a lot of time carrying this one around because of those few cons that I list in that review. But this is the smaller baby brother of this knife, which is just the Manix 2. Now this is, like I said, it's a KnifeJoy exclusive. It comes with their exclusive neon green handles. Now I'm colorblind, so how atrocious that color might be or how cool that color might be, I'm not gonna be a good judge of that, but hopefully you guys can kind of help me out and give me an idea what your thoughts are on it. But this is the Spyderco Manix 2, so I want to go ahead and unbox this thing and check it out. So right away, I can tell you that even being colorblind, I can tell that is green. It's very much a fairly bright green color. Now, I'm not going to spend too much on what's in the box. If you guys have seen any Spyderco unboxings or got one yourself, you know what's in here. Product information, warranty guide, a little letter from Spyderco, and a sticker. Pretty plain box overall, not a whole lot in the presentation. But this is the knife. So the thing that really attracted me to this knife, Manix 2's been around for a long time. I've never had the desire to really pick one up. I've never actually held one before. I'm not a huge fan of the cage ball bearing lock, not because it's not a great lock. As far as functioning as a lock, it's a very solid lock. My issue is more that the knife itself takes a really long wear-in period to kind of, wear that lock in so that the knife opens more smoothly. If you want to get that ability to drop shut, you're not going to usually have that right off the bat with a knife like this. In fact, my XL has been well used, and it took me a while to be able to even do the Spidey flick to get it open because of how tight this thing pushes against the blade. And then drop shutting it, I've just now fairly recently got to where that is a possibility with this knife. Especially if you put a little bit of wrist motion into it, it will drop shut. But that definitely is not the case out of the box. This one was extremely, in fact, even shutting this was hard to do one-handed because of how hard you had to pull back on that locking mechanism because of the spring in there. So that is something that it just doesn't appeal to me. I like knives that are a little more fidgety, but still have a solid lockup and not a lot of blade play. So that being said, I thought, hey, this is a good opportunity to get my hand on a Manix 2 because the blade steel that this KnifeJoy exclusive is made out of is what really caught my eye. And that blade steel is well, you can see I was able to Spidey flick that one pretty easy. The CPM 20 CV. So I really like this blade steel. It's a very good, well-rounded steel overall. Obviously, when you're looking at blade steel, there's always trade-offs. So if you want something with extremely high edge retention, you're probably going to get a knife that's more brittle, more prone to chipping, not as tough. A lot of times, if you're looking at some of that stuff, maybe the trade-off is in the stainless capability of the knife, how resistant it is to corrosion. Or maybe you get a knife that's very tough, so it's not likely to break, but it doesn't hold an edge. So all that kind of stuff. I feel like the CPM 20 CV is pretty well rounded. It doesn't get the highest marks in any category, but it also doesn't get low marks in any category. So it's toward the higher middle end of that spectrum, but it's that way across the board, whether it's edge retention or corrosion resistance or the toughness or the ability to sharpen it. It's not terribly hard to sharpen. All those things, it gets good marks in. So I've really been impressed with the CPM 20 CV. I've not picked up a Spyderco with this steel yet, so I wanted to go ahead and do that. And this was my opportunity. And I thought, you know what, if I really don't like the green handle scales, if they start to bug me for whatever reason, I can always just customize this knife, put on some aftermarket scales, maybe an aftermarket, the cage for the ball bearing, maybe get something there in a different color and kind of spruce this thing up a little bit. I will say that from the color scheme, again, I don't know whether or not this green's going to grow on me, how bright that really is, But I do think that if the blade was the DLC black blade that Spyderco makes, it would probably make this knife look a lot better. I think that black would go better with the green handle scales than the satin finish does. But that's just my personal preference. So the knife itself, as far as size, you can see that it is smaller than the Manix 2XL, obviously. But it's actually not that much smaller. The XL feels much larger in the hand, but actual measurements, it's only, what, maybe half an inch shorter overall. Handle's pretty close to the same size as far as length. It's just not as wide overall, and I think that's one of my big cons of the XL. It's such a wide knife that it takes up so much room in your pocket. It's hard to even get your hand in and out of your pocket when you have this knife in there. So I'm hoping maybe that'll be resolved with going down here to the Manix 2. Now, the one thing I do like about the XL is the shape with a little bit more of a hook down here where your pinky rests. It really locks this knife into your hand. That knife is not going anywhere once you've got a good grip on it. You do lose a little bit of that here. Obviously, there's not as pronounced of a hook on the Manix 2. So as far as overall size, you know, this thing's just under 8 inches at 7.92 inches. It's very similar in size to a Paramilitary 2, about the same length blade, about the same length handle. Of course, as much as I love the Paramilitary 2, one of the things I'm always concerned about is that really fine tip and whether or not that knife can be used in a heavy use type scenario. And I always kind of baby it because of that fine tip. Now, this thing still has a fairly fine tip, but that broader leaf-shaped blade leads me to think that I could probably use this a little heavier than I could the Paramilitary 2, which might lend itself to being a better everyday carry style knife. So if you're looking to pick up a knife for everyday carry, this might be a pretty good option for you. It's got about the right length blade. Most people like that around that 3 to 3.5 inch blade. It does still grip into your hand or fit into your hand really well. You've got jimping in all the right places here. You've got it in the liners. You've got it here on the choil. You've got that really aggressive Spyderco sharp jimping on the spine, and then some more jimping here in the liners. Your pocket clip is reversible for left or right hand carry, but it is not tip up, tip down because of the locking mechanism. They're only able to really put that clip on the tip up carry side. So you're going to have to carry that tip up, but you can switch it left or right hand. You, of course, have the lanyard hole here if that's something that you're into. It does have that full flat grind, which I love on the Spydercos. Really makes it a great slicer. I like the full flat grind. It's got that leaf-shaped blade, kind of the wider leaf-shaped blade, which I do like as well. So overall, guys, my initial impression is, first of all, that lock, while you're not going to drop shut that very well, it does flick open without really any issues. And it's not nearly as hard. When I had that XL come in, I could not really close it hardly with one hand. You had to really pull back on this thing because of how tight that spring was. And this one, I can do that. I can pull it back with one hand. The issue is I can't really get it to drop shut with one hand because it's too tight still. So this will break in, and as it breaks in, I may really come to enjoy it a lot more. I do like that it's at least easy to open. It flicks open easily. That's not a problem. So overall, you know, impressions are good. Now, the one thing I've noticed with Spydercos lately is their quality control is a little lacking. And what I mean is they use premium components, but when they assemble it, somebody's not doing their job before these things leave the factory. So let's see if this thing is actually centered. That is a common problem. And no, it's actually not centered. It's favoring, the blade is leaning over to this side with a pocket clip enough that you can easily see that. So see, to me, if you're going to spend over $100 on a knife, and this thing, price compared to other Spydercos right now, and especially being an exclusive, this thing was well priced. I think it was right around $130. That's actually not bad for what knife prices are right now, especially premium steel knife prices. I mean, me personally, I guess I'm stuck up on prices when I first started collecting. I just think paying over $100 is a lot for a knife, and now it's hard to even pick up a decent knife for under $100. Especially if you're not looking for something made in China. If you're looking made in the US, you're paying over $100, and a lot of times you're paying $200, $300, $400 for a knife. So comparatively, when you look at other knives of this quality and caliber, that's actually a really good bang for your buck on that knife. So now like I said, I think they did sell out of these within the first 24 hours, so I don't think you can pick one up anymore unless you find somebody who bought some and they're reselling it for, like, you know, a huge markup online, probably $300 or something. But KnifeJoy itself looks like they were sold out. So Yeah, I'm probably going to have to take this thing apart and recenter the blade. You shouldn't have to do that on a knife that you spend over $100 for. I like Spyderco so much that I kind of just, roll my eyes and live with it and go ahead and recenter the blades myself. But it does bother me that you have to do that. You shouldn't have to. So in conclusion, looking at the knife, guys, I'm pretty excited about this one. I think it's going to make a good everyday carry knife. It's got great blade steel. It's got a good shape, good design. The size is good, fits your hand, locks up tight, feels good in the hand. So we'll have to carry it a while and see what I think. The only thing I'm not sure about is that handle scale color. Some people might really love it. I think it's probably definitely polarizing. Some people are probably going to hate it. Some people are going to love it. Being colorblind, I don't really know whether whether I'm seeing what everyone else is seeing. So the knife, the color's not super off-putting to me, but it also isn't overly attractive. And like I said, especially with the satin blade, I think with a black blade, maybe it'd look a little bit better. But those are just my thoughts on the knife, initial impressions. Guys, sound off in the comments. Tell me what you think. What do you think of that handle scale color? Do you like the Manix 2? Is that something that has made its way into the rotation of your pocket for EDC? It's just really hard for me with any Spyderco for it to kind of bump the Paramilitary 2 down a notch on that ladder. I just really love my Paramilitary 2. I love the way, well, basically everything about it, other than the fact that I feel like I kind of have to baby the tip of that knife. So you guys let me know what you think, and I'll try to maybe not wait so long before posting my next video. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.